What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. This morning, we got some pretty interesting but also disappointing news regarding the 2025 World Cup of Hockey, the potential first international tournament to feature NHL players since 2016. So some kids nowadays don't even remember a goddamn international NHL tournament. I'm obviously 23, so I do kind of remember 2016. But there was some pretty interesting info dropped by Elliotte Friedman this morning. So I kind of wanted to go through it, shit on it a little bit because I think it is pretty bad in terms of what they're proposing, and give some potential alternatives, hopefully, that they end up doing. So without further ado, this was the potential tournament that they're proposing. According to Elliotte Friedman from his podcast, 32 Thoughts, sounds like it'll be a week-long event happening in February of 2025. They want to play some games overseas, so I take that as some of it in North America, some of it in Europe. 4 or 6 teams. Russia will not be involved due to geopolitics. If it's 4 teams, it'll be Canada, US, Sweden, and Finland. So yeah, they're just making it potentially a 4-team tournament, which just isn't. It's just not. If they do that, again, I tweeted out, I can't be too mad because I didn't even think the World Cup of Hockey was going to happen with NHL players in 2025. I thought they were going to flake on it, but this is so disappointing because you think about the World Cup. Obviously, soccer, so many more nations play soccer compared to hockey, so it's not a good comparison. But there's so many teams. There's 32 teams in a World Cup. You think about an international tournament like the Olympics or the World Cup of Hockey, you would want at least 8 teams. You'd want some type of group stage. I don't know what the hell they do with a 4-team tournament. Would it just be Finland and Sweden playing Finland and Sweden? They play a best of 3. US and Canada play a best of 3, and then they just have like a 1-game championship, or maybe just 1 game for the semis, then a best of 3. It would be cool. Don't get me wrong. I'd be watching, but there's just so much potential to grow the game by involving these other European countries. I'm not going to get into Russia. I understand why they're not allowed in it. It does suck because they have so many good players, but I understand why. I understand. I'm not diving into the Russia-Ukraine geopolitics situation, but when looking at it, yeah, I think it's very disappointing. Jay Fresh tweeted out a pretty interesting, just basic, what it probably should be: Canada, US, Sweden, Finland, Czechia, Slovakia, Germany, Switzerland. If Russia is back by then, just take someone out. And yeah, dude, don't get me wrong. I understand like Germany, Sweden, Switzerland, Czechia, Slovakia. They might not be there quite yet. Yes, they're probably not winning the tournament, but getting that exposure into their country is so important in terms of growing the game that just having this 4-team tournament just seems so elitist and seems to be pushing the smaller European countries to a side, especially coming off of World Championships where goddamn Latvia finally medaled. I think you want to get at least 8 teams in here. I understand if they're going to have some of the games in North America, maybe you want that 3rd North American team if you're going to do more teams. This was my potential format for this. I did a USA team over 24, Canada over 24, like back in 2016. I have that North America under 24 team, which if you remember the 2016 World Cup of Hockey, it was Matthews, McDavid, McKinnon. It was just nuts to watch the next generation of North American talent. Then going back, I did the same thing with Sweden and Finland and then combined those, and then Czechoslovakia, Czechia, and Slovakian one. And then kind of like a rest of Europe in terms of Sweden, Switzerland. I keep on messing up Sweden and Switzerland. Switzerland, Germany, Latvia, Denmark, Norway, all of that. So I think you just need to go 8 teams with this. It just doesn't seem like an actual World Cup. If you don't, you're leaving out countries like a Switzerland that is on the rise, that has Hischier, Yossi, Meyer, Fiala, Siegenthaler, they're on the rise. Also, like Germany, Draisaitl, Stützle, Seider, JJ Peterka is balling out this year. You're just leaving out so much talent to potentially be on display and inspire the next generation in these young countries in terms of growing the game. It just stinks to see them kind of throw them to the side. And when just looking at this overall, I don't think that this is that good of that ideal of a tournament, because I think they're going to do this in 2025 and then kind of just be like, yeah, we're not going in 2026 to the Olympics in Italy. I think it's in Milan or something like that, or sort of Torino. It's in Torino in 2026. I think this is this is going to be their excuse to have this week-long tournament, probably going to be like right after the All-Star break or during the All-Star break or something like that. Maybe just replace the All-Star break and have this. That's probably what it's going to be, so they miss no games. So they're going to do this in 2025, and then the following you're going to be like, yeah, you got your international play with a goddamn 4-team tournament that lasted a week. That was like 5 games total. We're not going to the Olympics in 2026. So it stinks. It stinks from that angle. I am happy that we're getting something because, again, If you asked me a month ago, I would have said, yeah, they're just going to push the World Cup of Hockey to 2027, not go to the Olympics because of some salary cap and game thing, and there's going to be some type of excuse forever. So I definitely got to be somewhat grateful for that. We might even get something next year. Lord knows I'm driving to wherever those games are in North America, doing interviews outside, going to the games, getting rowdy, rooting for the United States. I'm going to love it, but it's just another fumble by the NHL, by the NHL. You look at it compared to a sport like NBA that has massively grown over the years. Yes, NBA players stopped going to the Olympics, but they would still send decent players. And now, after the embarrassment that the United States had at the World Championships, FIBA World Championships, everybody's going to the Olympics for the United States basketball. That's going to be awesome to watch. I understand that basketball, it's the summer, it's not in season, but the fact that the NHL just refuses to go to the Olympics or refuses to host actual international tournaments just stinks, man. It just slows the growth of the game. I really hope that something happens, that they have at least 6 teams. If you add that under 24 North American team and maybe add a rest of Europe team, I think that'll be that'll be okay. I won't be that mad. But if it ends up just being Finland, Sweden, US, Canada, I'm going to be pretty pissed. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about this? Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.